listening to, I say you are listening to, you are absolutely listening to the George Espinlove Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm. Now, with no further ado, here comes Georgie!
That's what I say. Woo! Well, to all of our friends down the street, around the corner, across this great nation, and around the world, welcome to another George Espinlove Show. Don't get too carried away now. We come to you live every Monday through Friday. Thank you. Thank you. You'll wake the baby. Anyhow, we come to you live Monday through Friday on the George Espinlove Show from a place called Our World. And don't ask me where that is. And don't ask anyone here at the Funny Farm where that is, because we have no idea. We don't even think about it until airtime, and we have to explain where we're coming from. But we're coming from Our World, and that's a place that we don't know where it is. We just live here. We have no mailbox. We have no mailing address. But we do have an email, George CE. That's George CE at Comcast.net. George CE at Comcast.net. You'll have to excuse my voice. I've got a frog. I'm going to get him sooner or later. But we're delighted. We're delighted to have you tonight. Here is our call-in number. This is a Skype number. Here is our number, 302-497-3414, or George.Espinlove, Espenlaub. And with that 302-497-3414, you can either dial it on your Skype little keypad up there, the little number pad, or if you don't have those Skype, you can call us on your cell phone from the comfort of your home, wherever you might have a telephoning device. Is that a word? I don't know. But wherever you have a device that makes telephone calls, you can call 302-497-3414. And we want you to participate, and we'll open the phone line here in just a little bit. And if you have some comments or questions for our guest, you are free to ask. That number one more time, 302-497-3414. We have a young lady with us tonight by the name of Silvia Anthony. And she has an incredible story to tell. I believe that she'll make us cry, she'll make us laugh, and she'll make each and every one of us really sit down and search out deep in our soul what our real purpose for being on this earth is. It'll be thought-provoking. It'll be fun. I believe she's going to put you on the edge of your seat, so you might as well scooch up there right now. So with no further ado, as Charlie always says, let's bring on Silvia Anthony. Silvia, welcome to the George Espinlove Show.
Hello, George. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Do we still have you?
I'm here. Didn't you hear me? I said, hello, George. How are you?
Oh, yes, I heard that part.
What's that?
You have a very interesting life. You have...
Oh, thank you.
You have you have been around, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way or a negative way. I mean this in a complimentary way. You have been around a lot longer than most of us have. And you have seen things in your lifetime that many of us have never seen. And you have a very interesting story. And you are the founder and the president of Sylvia's Haven. Could you tell us a little bit about your background?
How far back do you want me to go?
Oh, as far as you want to go.
As far as I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was born in the city of Boston, about a half a mile from Logan Airport. I was born to two young people. My father was 19 when I was born, and my mother was 20. I don't think either one of them wanted me, but that was all right. God wanted me, and that's the main thing. Mm-hmm. And God does things in a very definite way. So here I am now. And I had a very interesting bringing up. My mother I was born in October 5th, 1929, about 2 weeks before the Great Depression. And Mom had to go to work, so did Dad, but Dad didn't find a job fast enough, so Ma went first and left me with his mother, who had come from Sicily, Italy, just on August 29th of the same year. So she was here only a couple of months. And my mother says to her, "Here, you take care of her. I have to go to work, and it's your son that brought me in this mess anyway." So Grandma just looked at her, and she had all boys, no girls at all. And she welcomed me with open arms. She was an angel. She took care of me like you wouldn't believe. The love, you could always feel this love. So I wasn't without love. I had a lot of love. And I have a very, very vivid memory. And I can remember I must have been only about 6 months old. This may sound strange to you. But my grandmother would try to put me to sleep at 10 o'clock in the morning so that she could do her work. There's only one thing. If I slept all day, I couldn't sleep all night, and my father swore up and down that I had my days and nights mixed up. But nevertheless, to put me to sleep, she would put me in her arms, and she would sit in a chair, and she would rock back and forth on the chair. And she would speak in this tone. She'd go, "No, no, no, no." Now, mind you, I wasn't even walking. I was still in her arms. She'd take a towel, put it over my face to cut out the light, and she'd go, "No, no." And I'm saying to myself, now, obviously, you can think, and not only that, but I think you know the language before you even start talking. Mm-hmm. Because in my mind, I'm saying, how does she expect me to go to sleep with her yelling, "No, no, 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 no," like that? And with the stupid towel over my face, how am I supposed to go to sleep? Not even knowing she was my grandmother. I'm saying this woman.
And how old were you, Sylvia?
Huh?
How old were you at the time?
My guess is about 6 months old.
Wow, that's incredible.
Well, my uncles adored me, my grandmother adored me, and then I had an uncle who died at 18 years old, drowning. And he was the love of my life. He was a vibrant young boy, vibrant. He played saxophone and clarinet. He was a hairdresser. He had 12 hairdressers under him in a place where he was working at 18 years old. And we went on an outing, and we were eating, and what was supposed to be a very joyous outing turned into a disaster. After he ate, he started towards the water, and my grandmother said to him, "Vincent, where are you going?" He says, "I'm going in the water." She says, "But you just ate." He just waved, "Oh, my," and he ran. Now, I watched him as he ran. And he ran into the water. He didn't run into the water. He dove in it. And here I am, only 5 years old, and I don't even know. Of course I didn't. How could I even think like that? He dove in, and I never saw him come out, and I just turned away. That afternoon, after we were ready to leave, he was a very popular young man. Everybody thinking, oh, he's talking to some girl somewhere or something. And we sooner found out that, no, he's not around here. And they dragged the lake, and they took him out. And it was so devastating for me, for the family, like any family thing is. And then in those days, they used to put the coffin in the living room. So now we had the coffin in the living room for 3 days, with the doors wide open for anybody to come in from early morning till about 7 o'clock at night. And every once in a while, first of all, I couldn't eat in front of everybody. We would eat before and after, and people would sneak away to eat something. My father would sit me behind the parlor chair and feed me chocolate cookies. But every once in a while, somebody would come up and pick me up and say, Sylvia, kiss Uncle Vincent. And they'd pick me up and they'd bring me to the casket, to this corpse, and have me kiss him.
You know, Sylvia, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to say, I can remember, excuse me, I can remember when they used to lay the deceased out in the home. I had several relatives that, and I was young, very young, that they laid out in the living room or in the parlor, whatever they called it.
Yeah, that's
and that was and it's a vivid happening that never leaves your mind. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
No. In fact, because of it, I vowed I would not let my children ever see a wake until they were adults. That's the way I felt about it. At the time, I didn't think anything of it, as they would pick me up and they'd say, kiss him, you know. Mm-hmm. To me, he was my uncle. Sure, I'd kiss him. Mm-hmm. But on hindsight, as an adult after, I'm saying, my God, you know, that wasn't exactly the right thing to do, but nevertheless, it was done. In the meantime, my mother and father conceived me before they got married. And my mother and father lived in the same apartment. It was my grandfather, my mother's father's apartment, and my father's father, and he came from the same town. So the way they did it in those days is the husband would come to America first, work, save up enough money to take the rest of the family over. So that's the process that my father was in at the time. He came over at 14 years old, and when my grandfather on my mother's side invited them to come and live with him, he was 18 years old. And here's a girl 18 and a boy 19 living in the same apartment in pretty close quarters. Mm-hmm. Thus, Sylvia was born. And the father was very strict. She was the oldest daughter. He was going out of his mind, threatening to kill her, all kinds of things. And then one time he kept egging her on and saying, who was it? So finally she said, Charlie. Well, the two fathers banged their heads together, and by this time my mother was so scared because he kept saying, I'm going to kill you. She went off and took off to New York City. And she went to the Travelers Aid Society there. Travelers Aid Society called the family, got in touch with them somehow, and said, your daughter is in New York City. And my grandfather on my father's side took my father aside and said, you go over there. He gave her the money. You go over there, you take her back home, and you marry her. So it wasn't something where there was such great love that, they were going to get married anyway. It was almost a threat. So they got married, yes, but my father was bitter all his life over it. All his life.
Because
and whenever he could, that bitterness would come out on him.
Because he had to get married?
Yes. He was only 19 years old. He was not ready to be married. And he was very, very... so one day and my mother, she didn't abuse me physically. She just simply ignored me. I mean, I could go out of that house any time as a child, and she would never say, where are you going, what are you doing, or anything. So when I was 4 years old, I walked 3 doors away where there was a public school called the Samuel Adams, and it was a beautiful summer day. I can remember it as though it was yesterday, and I just sat on the steps there, and I enjoyed every minute of it. A girl came over that was a little older, talked to me, and as time went on, she must have realized it was supper time. I didn't know. It was daylight. I didn't have a watch. I didn't know what a watch was. She went away, and all of a sudden I see my youngest uncle going down the street, across the street, like a chicken with his head chopped off. So I yelled over to him, Uncle Salvi, where are you going? He says, there you are. Your father is going to kill you. He brought me home, and sure enough, my father's right outside the apartment door in the hallway as I'm coming in. Now I'm only 4 years old, mind you. He's picking me up, and he's punching me like crazy. Vincent's upstairs. This was before he drowned. Heard the commotion, and he lived on the 3rd floor of a tenement building, and we lived on the 1st floor. He ran out of the house, went down to the 2nd floor. When he got down to the 2nd floor, there was a railing, of course. He jumped over the railing onto my father's back and started beating him until he let me go. And that I'll never forget as long as I live.
Let me tell our audience. Excuse me. Go to sylviashaven.org. Did I get that right, Sylvia?
Yep.
sylviashaven.org. And you will find some very interesting material. Not only that, she is the author of a book. And listen, I just got this yesterday afternoon, Sylvia.
No kidding.
Yes, I just got it yesterday afternoon, and I'm somewhere around page 122, 123, and I don't think there's many left. No, there's only 165. It's one of those books, ladies and gentlemen. It's an easy read, but once you pick it up, you're going to forget about everything else. You're either going to sit down or walk around reading it because you won't be able to shut it back up. It is a fantastic, fantastic book. Till the End of Time. And that is Silvia Anthony's story. It is an amazing story. It is an interesting story. She takes us back to where most of us, have never, ever been. So go to her website, sylviashaven.org, and you can get her book, Till the End of Time. You can get the book at Amazon, Sylvia?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, just about anywhere. It's even an e-book. It can be gotten just about anywhere.
Okay. So make sure you get it, ladies and gentlemen. It is a fantastic book. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's all right. So anyway, let me jump to because I'd be telling you the whole story of the book now, and I get that's. But anyway, that my life was up and down, up and down, up and down, and as a result, I got married young too, because I wanted to get out of the house. I had an abusive father. I had an abusive husband. I had 12 and a half years of the first marriage that was terrible, other than the fact that I had 3 blessed children. In fact, my oldest daughter is your age. So so then we go on, and there was a divorce finally after 12 and a half years, and I raised the children myself from there on in. And by the time that Lynn was, this girl that's your age, was 12 years old at the time, Dean was 6, and I raised them myself. And I was always working as a secretary, and secretary of presidents here and there. But I had to leave the office because it wasn't paying enough, and I went to work in a meat packing plant.
You were never afraid of hard work. In fact, when you were very young, you took a part-time job that paid, 35 cents an hour?
35 cents. Yep, and that's how I learned how to type at 13 years old. I worked there about 2 years, and with that, it took after school, those few hours after school every day for 5 days a week, 2 years before I could accumulate $50 to buy a brand new Remington Remington portable typewriter. And it came with instructions on how to type. And before I even got into high school, I was typing. In fact, I started working in offices at 14, 15 years old after school. So that's how that went on. See, all of this, though, is I didn't have to work. I just wanted to be independent. What this did to me was make me want to be independent. And this is the thing that had drove me, sort of. So then we bring up our children. Everything goes, well, up and down, up and down. I had people, loves come back into my life, out of my life. Some of them one lasted for 35 years out of the 55 years I know of. But, what it led to was it gave me a heart to do what I do today.
The average, I'm sorry, but the average pay was somewhere around $15 a week back then, wasn't it?
When I was a child, yes. By the time I got to high school, well, you could, top pay in an office was $25 a week. I had such a time because, women talk today that they don't get equal pay. But then, it was ridiculous. I remember working for a buyer of the microwave and power tube division of Raytheon Manufacturing Company. He was making $50,000 a year, and I was making $50 a week. And I was doing his work for him.
When you was talking about the fact that you wanted to be independent, the moment that you said that, something clicked, and I thought, wow, what a contrast between you wanting to be independent and making your own way and leaving your mark as compared to today when so many people want to be dependent.
Yep, you're right. I can't understand this, really. I just can't. It just, well, it's such a different world today. I've seen people, some of them that don't actually seriously think about making a life of themselves till they're 40, 50, and even 60 years old. And I say, about the time I was 40 years old, my 3 children were all grown. And I can't, well, I can fathom it because I see it all the time. But I say, gee, and that's what I see even with my girls. So there we go. When I got married for the second time, I was married for 17 and a half years. He died of cancer. And he was the kind of man that was always very supportive. His name was Rick. And because my kids were, by the time I met him, I was nearly 40 years old, a few months from being 40 years old. And here my kids were all grown up. I had a daughter, 21, that was married, another boy, 20, and one, 16. But they were grown.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm saying to myself, I worked, I took care of kids, I did all this, and now what do? I have no kids to take care of. And there seemed to be a void, but God put that void in me, I'm sure. And I kept saying to him, I want to have a home of some sort. And he never said, what are you, crazy? He just kept quiet and let me be. And at 40 years old, I thought I wanted a home for the retirees, a place, not a rest home, but some place where the elderly could enjoy a social life, keep them interested in life and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Because even then I felt that if you can keep these people interested in life, they'll have a much better senior life. But it didn't work out. I didn't have the money. I was just talking through my head, I guess. Either that or God was talking through my head. But nevertheless, about 7 years later, I'm thinking, well, no, maybe it's hard to place orphans, children that are over say, infancy, where nobody wants them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, too, I couldn't afford it. It went by the board. But then, when my husband was dying, we were pretty well off financially. Not millionaires, nothing like that. But we had a few extra dollars. And when he died, there was $30,000 left. But before he died, he became very religious, and he would lay in bed and watch TV evangelists from morning till night. And one morning, I'm in the kitchen washing dishes, and he called me over, and he said, Sylvia, take a look at this. And first he's excited, Sylvia. I don't go running into the bedroom. What is it? Watch this, he says. And it was Jerry Falwell. Have you ever heard of him?
Yes, ma'am.
He was talking and giving the statistics. Now, this is just what he was saying. I'm not far against. I'm just telling you. He says there are 2 million babies being aborted each year. And I have a shelter for pregnant girls that are homeless. He says, and I put together what I call a Save a Baby syllabus. He says, I will give it to anyone free of charge if they would like to do the same thing. It'll take you through, step by step, what you do to have a home like mine. I looked at Rick. I says, that's what I want. Mm-hmm. Well, sick as he was 6 months from dying. He had gone to a college for marketing, public relations, and advertising. He got on the phone right away and started networking with the pro-life people and whatnot, and that's what it first started out to be. But today I take in everybody, and that's why it's Sylvia's Haven. At first it was called for the little ones, and then I took in only pregnant girls. And now we're up to 1,077 women and children. Some of the children now that were born in my place are as much as 25 years old, over 26 years doing it. Mm. And it has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. I'm not saying an easy one, but I'll tell you, it has so much rewards, so many. The good so outweighs the bad that I just feel blessed. I really do. I enjoy every bit of it. We have 2 little girls over at my house now. They're sisters. One is 5 and one is 9. The 9-year-old remembers me because her mother was there 5 years ago. Now she's in a different situation. She hasn't been homeless all this time. She left to go with her mother to Florida to live. And then they came back and she went to work. But now, in order to get assistance for housing, you have to be in a shelter to get put up on the list as a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
You put up, they put you right up on the list as an emergency. And so she asked me if she could come back, and she works every day. She faithfully gives me her 30% that I call shared expense. She's a wonderful, wonderful girl. But the oldest daughter, when she left, was 4 years old. And she remembered me. So when she said, we're going back to Sylvia, she says, great. But the baby had just been born. She didn't know me. Her name is Isabella. So when she come in at first, the older one come running up to me and kissing me, and whatnot, and the girl's just looking. Now every day when I come in, she comes and she kisses, and she kisses, and she kisses. She's never satisfied at one, but it's such a blessing. I'll tell you, I enjoy every bit of it. I've seen some of these girls make out very, very well. There's a young boy now that's in the Navy, on an airplane carrier, and when he was 13 years old, about 5 years ago, my pastor says to me, Sylvia, I want you to tell everybody here what you do. I says, fine. He says, I'll give you 10 minutes. I says, all right. So I got up and I started talking, and as you can see, I can talk. So he says to me, so he started coming to when the 10 minutes were up. He's coming to say, okay, that's it, wrap it up, And I says, look, I got to go now. But you people, you can go at the end of at the back of the church, and I'll speak to anybody if you have any questions. Well, I never got to the back of the church. There's this woman in the front with this 13-year-old boy. And she beckoned for me to come. She was right in the front row. I said, yes. She says, Sylvia, you see, this is my grandson, Michael. I said, hello, Michael, how are you? She says, Sylvia, he was born in your shelter. And she gave me her daughter's name, and that rang a bell. Mm. He evidently never heard this before because his face dropped a mile, and he just looked at me, So about a month later, he come up to me. Sylvia, I don't remember when I was born. He says, I want to thank you so much for your hospitality. Mm. Well, let me tell you, that cracked me up. That really cracked me up. From then on, every week when we were at church, he'd come over and kiss me. And sometimes he'd even refer to me as his mother. And he just graduated high school. He began to play in the church band. He's done very, very well. Everyone loved him. He had a wonderful personality. And now he's in the Navy. And my prayers are with him, that's all. But you see some of these. I have another one that's going to college now to become a lawyer, a young girl. And they go on and on. This young girl, her grandmother, her mother was given, I got a call from Pregnancy Health. This was a Catholic organization that tried to talk girls out of abortion. This is when it was Life of the Little Ones. And they would then say to them, well, look, if you need someplace to go, we can refer you. And I got a call, would you please take a look at this girl? She needs help desperately. So Fola come in. She's Nigerian. And actually, I took her in. And at the time, she was pregnant. She had come to me because she was at Mount Ida College in Newton, Massachusetts. Her mother and father were actually very wealthy. They had an estate in Nigeria. And these Nigerians, there's a group of them there that are very, very wealthy. And what they do is they all follow the same pattern. When the child is ready to go to college, they give them 2 years at this Mount Ida College first and then send them on to whatever college they want to go to. It's not a prep school, but that's the way they use it. Not only that, but what they generally do is when the mother is pregnant, when she's about 8 months along, 7, 8 months along, they moved to England. And the baby is born in England. So they're citizens of England.
Huh.
And Frola was born in England. So anyway, what happened was when she was going to college, she met a man that was from Nigeria too. He didn't come from her hometown. She didn't know him there, but she met him there. And thus the little baby, Remy, was born. Well, he wanted to stay in touch with her. I think he really wanted to marry her. I think he felt that that was his kid and he wanted her.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, what she did when she got pregnant was she didn't know how to tell the family. So all she said was, I quit school. And she was the youngest of the family. And the father's thinking, this girl is really spoiled. I've got to teach her a lesson. And he cut her off financially. Thus, she had to come to me. So when she's about 8 months along, she finally figured, well, sooner or later, she's not going to be able to hide this baby forever. The family's got to know about it. So she called her sister, who was a lawyer, and told her the story and said, would you tell Mom and Dad? They said yes. And the parents were godly people, and they forgave quickly. In fact, they were very pleased to know that they were going to have a grandchild. So the little baby was born in February of 1990. And after the baby was born, Flora came up to me and said, Sylvia, my mother would love to come and visit the baby. Can she stay in my room? She says, I'll put a mattress on the floor. My mother doesn't care. She just wants to be near her. I said, okay, go ahead. Well, that woman come in. She started cleaning the house, feeding everybody in the house, and everybody loved her. Everybody loved her. Man, they never felt so good in all their life. They didn't have to worry about who's going to clean what or what. She just did everything. She cooked for them. She did everything. And she stayed from June to September. In September, she's getting kind of cold now. She's used to the warm weather. She wants to go back home. And she told Fuller, she said, look, why don't you let me take the baby home? She says, so that you can go on with your life and figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life. The baby will be there. I'm not taking it from you, but at least I can take care of it, and you can go on with your life for as long as you have to. So sure enough, Fuller went to Elizabeth Grady, a facial cosmetic school, and when she graduated, she needed a model. She asked me to be the model. Then she did my whole face, gave me a facial from top to bottom. And then she decided, her sister was here in America, decided that they're going to go back to England where they were both born. She became a hairdresser there. And in the meantime, when the baby went back, Grandpa had designed a full nursery for the baby to come home to. As it started to go to school, it was sent to a private school. She got 2 double promotions while she was in that school. At 13 years old, she won a beauty contest. And evidently the father was keeping in touch with people that knew them, because when the grandmother was here and she found out where he lived, she had a sister in the same town. And she told her sister, go see his mother. Maybe we can get these 2 kids married off. The mother came back and replied, she ruined my son's life. No. That was the end of that. So he, I guess, did whatever Ma told him to do, and that was the end of that. Well, when she grew up, the father is still keeping in touch somehow. He knows of everything that she's doing. And when she graduated high school, he got in touch with the family and said, would you bring her back over here? I'll put her through college. At that time, the grandmother had lost her husband. He died. She's getting up in age. And Fuller had remarried, had 2 other kids. And the father had given her a a beauty salon right on their estate for a while. She worked there for a while. Then she went back to England, and she goes back and forth. Now the girl is here. She's been here now since she was 16 years old. That's when she graduated high school. And now she's completed 4 years of college, and she wants to go to law school. In the meantime, she also knows that you have to kind of do charitable work and whatnot. So she was a volunteer in Obama's campaign. She got to meet him personally. And now she's out there doing some kind of service somewhere, I guess, to get some of that under her belt. But she'll be going back to college to become a lawyer.
When you stood in your living room when your husband called you,
mm-hmm.
and you knew that was what you wanted to do,
mm-hmm.
how long did it take from that day until you actually started?
Okay, he was 6 months before he died. We incorporated it. He got a lawyer pro bono who put through the articles of incorporation, and we were incorporated with the state of Massachusetts on January 25th, 1987. This was January. Rick died March 30th, same year. And the last words he said on his bed as he was dying was, "Go get the girls," because, let's face it, I was taking care of him until he died. Yes, we were already incorporated, but this is 2 months before he died. I had my hands full. So the last thing he said was, "Go get the girls, and don't worry, I'll always take care of you." And I guess he has. He and everybody else I've been taken care of very, very well.
Did you?
I'm not a rich woman, not by any means, but I'm rich in grace, rich in all kinds of things. God has blessed me so much. And I see these kids growing up, and I say, "Oh my God!" And I just love what I'm doing, and that's why I wrote the book. I figured there's many, many stories there on different instances I gave you too, but this goes on every day.
Are you in the same facilities now that you started 26 years ago? No.
Oh, it's been a real roller coaster ride. At first, I had the first 4 girls in my house in a rented apartment of the standard 2-story house, 2-family house. After he died, I took them in my house there. And then what he did is he liked vacations, but he didn't like to go anywhere by airplane because he did that when he was younger a lot in his advertising days and whatnot. And he really got frightened of planes because a couple of times he got into accidents that almost killed him in planes. So he didn't want to go anywhere by plane anymore. So if I had to go anywhere, it was up and down the East Coast by car.
Mm-hmm.
So then what happened was I had the first of the people there. He was watching TV before he died, and he saw that there was a TV evangelist had a trip scheduled for Israel. And he gave me the money, and he says, "Sylvia, order that trip for 2 of us. If I don't make it, you go alone." But he says, "I want to walk where God walked." I says, "All right." So I made the thing in January. It was for August. He never did make it, so I went. But now my landlady lives next door to me, and she knows I'm going to go on the trip because we were friends, and I'd tell her all these things. And when I went to pay the August rent, she says to me, "Sylvia, these girls are not going to stay here while you're away." She says, I didn't rent this place to you and to those girls. I rented it to you and Rick. I want them out of here after you're gone. So now she's telling me this August 1st, and I got to leave at the end of the month, and I'm going crazy trying to find a place. Well, I found a place there. It didn't work out too well, so we go someplace else. And let me tell you, this is one of my biggest troubles. Everybody pats you on the back and says, aren't you doing such a nice job, except not in my backyard.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And this is the problem that I constantly run into, right up until this very day. So I moved and moved and moved. I went from Everett to Revere, which is where I am now, but there was a long lapse in between. From Revere, I went to Lynn, near the ocean. Then I went to Beverly, again near the ocean. Then I came back to Saugus and Everett, and back to Everett, where I started. And then when I was there, I got a letter from the federal government telling me that there was a thing called the McKinney Act that states that whenever a base of any kind, Army, Navy, whatever, closes down in full or in part, X amount of space has to be allotted for the homeless. They said, you're doing the work that's needed, and if you want, you can come. Here is a list of all the buildings at Fort Devon, and you can pick whatever you want and whatever it is you want. If you put in a letter of intent, and if you put in a proposal, and we like it, you can have whatever you've chosen that we agree on for $1 a year.
$1 a year?
$1 a year. It was called the McKinney Act. It no longer exists as such. He died. When he died, they changed everything. But at that time, that's what it was. So I'm reading this thing, and I see $1 a year, and I see pages and pages of buildings. They got me pictures of everything. I called up my lawyer. I had a lawyer. I always had a lawyer pro bono. Ollie, he was just hot off. He had just gotten his bar. He just made the bar, and he was a new lawyer, but he came from a wealthy family. And I called him out. He says, Ollie, listen to this. And I read the whole letter to him, and I says, Ollie, and it's only $1 a year. He says, let's go for it. Well, Ollie worked like heck to get the proposal done. We put in the letter of intent. We got it in there the day it was due. We put in the night before, and they were supposed to let us know within 30 days, and they did. And I got it. There's only one thing. The Army hadn't moved out yet, and I had to wait 3 years before they got out. In the meantime, did you get that far?
No, I'm not quite sure I got that far.
Yeah. So that was a two-edged sword. I got in there after 5 years because an entity from the state of Massachusetts called Mass Development ruled that what happened was that 40 square miles of base was taken from 4 towns, not by eminent domain, but by lease before World War I, with the agreement that if they should ever move out, the land goes back to the original owners. So now we had 4 towns who were going to get some land that they didn't even know they had, and they formed a housing alliance to see what they're going to do about this. And when they found out that I got accepted, they wanted to know who I was. Who is this woman with a homeless shelter that's coming in here? One town, ironically enough, the name of it is Harvard, and it is just what it says. Millionaires live there. the woman that was the chairman of the board of that thing wanted to know who I was, so they invited me to come and join these meetings once a month, which I did. We got along fine, no problem. But then the state come in and started about a year and a half into the waiting process. They came about 6 times till it was 3 years, telling the people, look, if you give it to us, we'll make it a commerce center. We'll put all you hurting people back to work. And 2 of those towns literally lived off the base. And, we're going to make it this and we're going to make it that. And, wow, you're going to have such a beautiful place here. Well, when the 3 years were up, they took a vote. And the have-nots went out and they gave it to the state. Now, the federal government isn't my landlord anymore. It's the state of Massachusetts. And really, this is a private organization. It's part of the state of Massachusetts, but it works independently. Mm-hmm. Under the umbrella of the state, though. So, I had been a real estate broker, among other things, for many years. So when all of this come up, I didn't know north central Massachusetts, where the base is located. But I certainly knew real estate. I didn't know it, but I picked Harvard soil. I picked the Post Chapel, 50 townhouses, and 20 and a half acres of land. The chapel alone was worth $18 million because of the location. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Well, Mass Development, when they come in and they saw that I was on 20 and a half acres of Harvard soil, they went to no expense to try to destroy me. I stayed there nearly 10 years, but they did everything in the books. In fact, it took 2 years to even get a lease from them. They were so horrendous. And they looked at my lawyer straight in the face and said, she'll never get in here. But I did. And that's how the numbers came up so fast. So that they're now 1,077. Because we had 40 houses running at a time. It was the second largest in the country. You know who beat me out? Bill Gates.
So you eventually lost it?
Yes. Yep. Eventually, I was there for nearly 10 years, and they couldn't get me out. What they would try to do is drive me broke. Uh-huh. And, say, you got to do this, you got to do that, everything that costed money. And ironically enough, no matter how much they wanted me to do and how expensive it was, the donations would come in. They would, for 3 years in between there, I grossed $500,000 every year. Because people could see what I was doing. The donations in clothing and furniture, the girls didn't have to buy anything. I had 10 buildings full of furniture and clothing and everything they could want. When they come in, they go pick their stuff. They have a whole townhouse to themselves. And when they left, I would let them take them with it because what was I going to do with it all? We had 2 very wealthy communities in there, Groton and Harvard, and people were donating all over the place. They were leaving things at the doggone place. In fact, at Christmas time, it got so bad that sometimes the girls didn't even want to leave. At Christmas times, for 2 or 3 years, 1 or 3 years, I had to finally ask them, please don't do that. Each child had 37 gifts apiece. It was phenomenal. But Mass Development didn't like it, and then they seen that they couldn't break me financially, then they tried to evict me. And that was in the court for 4 years. And they had no right to try to evict me. So then it just, what finally happened was that they paid me off. but they paid me a miserable price. They paid me $650,000 that bought one house here in Revere.
Mm.
And in the meantime, they almost broke me financially, because in the papers for 4 years, they were saying, it's just that we don't think that she's capable enough. She's not capable. They didn't know what else to say, but she's not capable. So it really hurt me a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions or comments for Silvia, call 302-497-3414. That's 302-497-3414. And once you was out of there, you have a permanent place now?
Yes. Yeah, I bought one house. We went down from 40 houses running to one house. Mm. And even that's it's really awfully hard now financially for me. And when I moved over there too, the next door neighbors, when they found out it was going to be a shelter, my God, it was like they were forming a posse against me. This goes on all the time.
Mm. But yet,
so that way, it's always a struggle.
But yet, year after year after year, you keep trudging on.
That's right.
Do you keep trudging on by strictly donations?
That's right.
That's incredible. If someone wants to donate, they can go to sylviashaven.org, and there'll be a place there that they could donate.
They can go through PayPal. You can give them my address, so they can send it to me. Whatever, they can do whatever they want. They're on my website. They give all the information.
Okay, great. So, are you doing okay? I mean, I know you're not rolling in things, but are you doing okay right now?
I'm in a very bad bind right now. I really am, and I might have to move again to help myself and the girls. I might have to sell the house and move somewhere else with the girls, which I always do, and maybe if I can sell it at a profit, I can. This house is beautiful. It's overlooking the ocean. I wake up every morning and the sun rises outside of my porch, and I'm in bed. It's absolutely gorgeous, but the only thing is it's very restricting. I can't grow. Mm-hmm. So my better choice would be to sell it and have a little bit of money, and I have to give me a chance to grow back to what I would like to be. Because this way, it's a minimal type thing now.
How many girls do you have with you now?
3 girls. Right now, I can only service 3 families at a time.
Uh-huh. And is it?
And I live there because of the finances.
Is it the same old problem again with not in my neighborhood? We don't want this in my neighborhood.
That problem is always there. Always. What happened in this particular case was I bought the house and it was only 13 years old, and I'm renovating it because I got the money at the time, and it was in good condition, but I wanted to I figured if I buy a place and I make it better than anything else around me, they can't say I'm tearing down the valuation of their house. Mm-hmm. So I tore down the fence in the front of the house. I put white brick with white rock. Hello?
Uh-huh.
With white wrought iron railings on it. I made it beautiful. I put flower garden in front, flowers in back, and it's really very gorgeous. So once they saw that, the people, didn't. But the ones beside me, especially the one to the when you face me on the left of me, he don't give up. He's lied. He said there were drugs there. He's done everything. And he's tried to get the whole community to go for him. He says, we're going to run you out of town. Nobody would budge. They'd say, well, we don't see that. You're telling us that this is happening, but we all live close by. We don't see that. All they see is a beautiful house. So they won't go along with him. But it's still there.
Do the girls, I'm sure there's certain conditions that they have to meet when they come with you. Do they work outside?
No.
Do they have jobs?
The property itself?
No, I mean, do they work jobs?
Oh, absolutely. The whole idea, they can stay for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
The whole idea being that within that 2 years' time, they get back on their feet, go to work, find themselves a house, and get going and start. And it does help. It by the time they leave, they may not be flourishing but they're on their way. I find that because some of them communicate with me after, that it probably takes 5, not 2 years, to get going and be pretty independent again. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, they like I say, I have one girl that's working right now, and all she's hoping for is that she'll get the housing, waiting for the housing. But she's very independent. She's a beautiful mother to those girls. I see how she works and whatnot. The kids are doing very well. The girl that's 9 is doing very well in school. She helps her with the projects and whatnot. So, yes, that's exactly it. That's the whole idea of this, is to get them out of their rut and back on their feet. And I figure in 2 years' time, it can stop them on their way to recovery. And it does. I had a girl once who had a very bad marriage. She was very intelligent. She made a lot of money. She accomplished piano player, a beautiful artist with oil paintings and whatnot. And she was supporting her husband and putting him through college. After he got out of college and became a doctor, he left her. That just about broke her. She had a mental breakdown. She went into drinking. But now she's well again. And it's sometimes you see them so down and out when they come to you. And when they get back on their feet and they're working again, it's like they take on a whole different look. I remember seeing her after she was out of my place for 2 years. Now she's selling her paintings and whatnot. And I happened to be in a little 7-Eleven store, and she was there, and I didn't recognize her. And she looked at me and she said, Sylvia. And she looked at me and she said, I'm Linda. And then I looked and I could see, but she looked so beautiful, and she looked so down and out when she first came to me. The change, it's fantastic.
You are an incredible lady, Sylvia. And
well,
I would encourage our listeners, the ones that are listening live and the ones that will listen later on, tomorrow and the days ahead, I would encourage every one of you to uphold this lady in prayer. She is a soldier of the cross. I don't know any other way to say it, but she's a soldier of the cross. And many times you're bearing the load all by yourself, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, ladies...
when I was at Devon's, I had a lot of help. I had to have for all that, but then the money was coming in. Mm-hmm. But now, because things are so bad, I am literally doing it all by myself. I have got a few volunteers, and they're wonderful, the ones that do volunteer. But basically, my dish is overloaded right now. But I keep on going. I work Saturdays, Sundays, anytime.
I have to say it again. You are an incredible lady, Sylvia. So, ladies and gentlemen, go to sylviashaven.org and listen to me. From the smallest to the greatest and anything in between to help this lady to minister to these homeless women and children. My hat is off to you, Silvia. I'm almost speechless. I'm spitting and starting around here trying to find the right words. Do you have a place that you're looking at now, or for now?
Well, I haven't sold a house yet. In fact, the ad just went in last Sunday in the paper 2 days ago. And if I don't get in too much response from it, what I try to do is do it on myself to save the fee, the broker's fee. But if I don't get it done myself, I will put it out there to all the brokers and see if because the house is really beautiful, and I ought to be able to get something for it. And now the market is a little better than it was, so that I could be able to do that. It's really very gorgeous.
26 years. My, oh, my.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, please get the book Till the End of Time by Silvia Anthony. It is a tremendous read. I like what else is on the cover here, Silvia. A testimony of God's unending love and power. I will never leave you or forsake you. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. Your faith is anchored deep, and it's not in the sand. I think you're standing on the rock.
Yeah. Well, you know what? All I can say to that is thank you very much. But what I'm standing on is the rock that God has put there, and He's there with me. If you saw me, you would know that I probably don't look 83 years old. And I'm active, I'm healthy, and it's God. I guess He still wants to keep me around for a while longer.
I think so. I think so. You are a lady on a mission. Before I let you go, let me share this with you. There is a organization, perhaps you've heard of it, in Chicago, Illinois. It's called Pacific Garden Mission.
No, I don't think I ever heard of it.
They have been around. They've even been here longer than you, Silvia. They've been around in operation since 1877.
Wow.
And they set up shop. It was an old beer garden way back then. And it was in a place called Murderer's Row. And there was a lot of bars and a lot of shenanigans and a lot of murders in this neck of the woods there in Chicago. But a man and a woman started that mission in 1877. Such men as Billy Sunday went there and gave his heart to the Lord. And, of course, some of us older folks know who Billy Sunday is. He was one of the greatest preachers in this nation. He walked off the baseball diamond to carry the gospel. Men such as Mel Trotter, who was a drunken bum, found his way to Pacific Garden Mission, gave his heart to the Lord, and became a tremendous preacher. And eventually, he at one time was the superintendent of Pacific Garden Mission. D.L. Moody suggested the name. It was some kind of a beer garden something. And so he said, why don't you just call it Pacific Garden Mission? And it's been that way ever since. They minister to the homeless. And in the wintertime, they have as many as 800 men, women, or children come through their doors. They feed them, they clothe them, they give them medical attention. They can stay as long as they need to stay, as they minister to them, so on and so forth. They have a radio show that is entitled Unshackled, and it's been around since 1950. It is the oldest dramatization radio program in history. It's still running because we play Unshackled every Saturday night at 6:30 p.m. and every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. I just wanted to throw that in there to you to let you know that although they are huge and they are doing a tremendous ministry in Chicago, I have no doubt in my mind that you are just as important where you are with that one beautiful house and those girls that you're taking care of and getting them on their feet. I believe you're just as important to God as the biggest ministries in this country.
Well, you know what? I am now trying so hard to get people, volunteers, and even others, members of the board, to come into this because, I mean, let's face it, I am 83 years old. I don't know how much longer I'm going to live, but I would love this to keep on going long after I'm gone. I really would. And I have got now one girl. She's a director of marketing in my board of directors that's come on from my church, and she's quite active. And I have another woman that is here in Revere, and she just retired, and I guess she wanted to do something, and she's been very nice. It's just not enough yet, but if I can get these people and get this thing so that it's rolling again like it was, if I can find a property that maybe could be donated or something so that I could have a bigger place. I certainly like a bigger place. I like it when there's a lot of people around because you really feel it. But like you say, every individual. I remember one time I was on the 700 Club when I first started nationally, and they had me on there, and what Pat Robertson said was, here's this woman helping one at a time, one soul at a time, and this is how he's been, and she's making a difference. Well, that one at a time is now 1,077.
That's incredible. Sylvia?
So, you see, it's just one of those things that I really would want it to go further. And it's up to God. But if it does go further, I would be so pleased. I would be blessing them from heaven all the time because I love them all, really. I love life. I love people, and I don't like to see anybody suffering.
You have my phone number. You have my email.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this on the air. If you need me, contact me. Either call me, email me, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you got. Contact me. And I'll do anything I can.
Well, anything, if you find anyone who calls that wants interested, has any interest whatsoever in getting involved in this in some way or another, I certainly would appreciate it. I certainly can use all the help I can get. My real ambition is to have one of these in every state in the new union. Mm-hmm. That's my real ambition. And
it's needed. It is definitely needed.
And it is needed, but I need the help.
And you're in Revere, Massachusetts?
I'm in Revere, Massachusetts, just about 3 miles from Logan Airport.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Silvia Anthony, 83 years young and still going strong, a lady on a mission. She's written a book till the end of time. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere there's books, you can get this book till the end of time. Silvia Anthony. Go to Sylvia's Haven. That's sylviashaven.org. sylviashaven.org. And you know what? I have always said, of course, ask my wife, she'll say that you're always saying. But anyhow, I have always said that if a few of us, or if a whole bunch of us, does a little bit, by the time we add it up, it'll be a whole bunch.
Well, that's exactly it. From Pat Robinson's one person at a time to 1,077 and God knows where. And don't forget, these people were individual people. They got married. They got 3 kids now, 4 kids. They go on and on and on and on and on. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And this is what I want to do until God takes me home. And but I do need the help. And anybody that can help, why I'd be more than happy to have them aboard in any way whatsoever.
All righty, ma'am. Please stay in touch.
I will.
Give me a holler and a shout, whatever it takes to get my attention.
Okay, I'll do that. You know what? I'll send you my newsletter from here on in. That'll keep you posted.
Okay.
And anytime you feel that there's something that you might hear of or something that can help in any way, why, just let me know. And we need people like you, too, that can reach a lot of people, that can help a lot of people. You're on a mission, too. You're on a big mission. And we need people like you every single day. It's too bad there aren't a lot of us like that, but whatever there are, whatever little bit we do, we know that it makes some kind of a difference anyway.
That's right.
And and you're blessed for doing what you're doing because you've got a heart. You've got a big, big heart. And we know who put it there, and we know who's taking care of you and your whole family. And I want to thank you so very much for doing this for me.
Thank you, Sylvia, for your graciousness, for taking the time. And we will stay in touch. I promise you, we will stay in touch.
Wonderful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, this will be the beginning of a long, long time. As long as I live, anyway.
God bless you, Sylvia.
Okay, bye-bye now. Thank you so much for everything.
Yes, ma'am. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. An incredible lady, 83 years young. I would be hard-pressed, and I'm telling you the truth, I would be hard-pressed to stay up with this lady because I mean to tell you, Silvia Anthony, a lady on a mission. My, oh, my. Go to Silvia's Haven, silviashaven.org. And if you can do anything at all to help her financially, $1, $5, $3, $8, whatever the case might be. But remember, if all of us does a little bit, by the time we're done, we'll have a whole bunch. 26 years this lady has been doing this, and she's up to 1,077 people that she has helped. 1,077 against all the odds, against people coming against her. She's still trudging on. Go to silviashaven.org and read all about it, and then see if you want to help financially, from the littlest to the greatest and everything in between. Give me a call, 302-497-3414, and I'll be back right after this. Thanks for hanging with me.
Destiny blues. I'm just a shipwreck drifter on a sea of pain. The life I'm living ain't the life I choose. I got a full-blown case of the destiny blues. Well, I prayed to Jesus and Buddha too. I read L. Ron Hubbard studying new voodoo. Nothing seems to help me find my own free will. I was dealt a hand and never made a deal. The life I'm living ain't the life I choose. Got the full-blown case of the destiny blues. Well, I prayed to Jesus and Buddha too. I read L. Ron Hubbard studying new voodoo. Nothing seems to help me find my own free will. I was dealt a hand and never made a deal. The life I'm living ain't the life I choose. I got a full-blown case of the destiny blues. The life I'm living ain't the life I choose. The life I'm living and the life I choose, taking me down, down this no, the life I'm living.
Destiny Blues, Rick Fowler Band. Hey, speaking of Rick Fowler, let me take my glasses off so I can see what I'm reading. Let me lay this down. Yep, I do that. Most people put their glasses on to read. I usually take mine off to read. Anyhow, this is from Rick Fowler, and it's on my Facebook page about an hour ago. We are proud to announce a very special show for us, meaning Rick Fowler's band. Rick Fowler and his band. We are performing for the Deadwood Guitars Showcase on Wednesday, April 17th. What's today? Man, I don't even know what today is. Today's the 9th, the 10th, whatever it is. Okay, so that'd be like next Wednesday. We are performing for the Deadwood Guitars Showcase on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Come on, Espen Lob, straighten up here. We are performing for the Deadwood Guitar Showcase on Wednesday, April 17th in Athens, Georgia. We'll be playing our Deadwoods. We love them. And here is the invite. And he put the website down. I'll read this to you real quick. It's, let me light the light up here. It is newwestrecords.com/pages/Norma-town-hall-invite/. Go to Rick Fowler's band's page, and I'll bet it's on there. Go to Rick Fowler's page, Rick Fowler's band. Man, Espenlaub, you are losing it, Jack. Anyhow, go to Rick Fowler's band's page on Facebook, and you can read all about it. I'll bet you can. but they have a very special show. They'll be performing for the Deadwood Guitars Showcase on Wednesday, April 17th in Athens, Georgia. So if you're down that way, make sure you get in there because, I mean, these guys can flat out sing. And y'all know I mentioned Rick Fowler and his band many, many times. So good luck, guys, and just knock 'em dead. You know what I'm saying? Just knock 'em dead. Guided Missile, Rick Fowler Band. Can you see why I like it so much? Let me read this to you again. Rick says, Rick Fowler's Band, we are proud to announce a very special show for us. We are performing for the Deadwood Guitars Showcase on Wednesday, April 17 in Athens, Georgia. We'll be playing our Deadwoods. We love them. And so, if you're anywhere near Athens, Georgia, get there because you are in for a real treat. I wished I was there. I really do. Give me a call. 302-497-3414. And before I go any further, I want to say thank you to Silvia Anthony, a lady on a mission. She has written a book, Till the End of Time. It is a tremendous book. Once you pick it up, you won't be able to put it back down until you're done. She has a women and children's haven in Revere, Massachusetts, and she has needs. You can go to sylviashaven.com, sylviashaven.com, and there you can read all about it. There's a place there that if you want to, you can donate. She needs help. Not only financial help, but she needs physical help, like people kind of help. You know what I'm saying? So if there's anything you can do to help this incredible lady, she's been doing this for 26 years, my friend. 26 years. And she hasn't hung her head and walked away in disgust. She has her shoulders reared back, her head held high, and she is just as determined today as she was from day one. So you help this lady. sylviashaven.org. And I know that you'll be glad that you did. Give me a call, 302-497-3414. One more time, Rick Fowler Band, Prince of Fools.
sidewalk thinking what I'm gonna say when I see you bouncing toward me in your dress in my lingerie. You seem to look right past me, no matter what I do. But I tell you, I am royalty. I'm the prince of fools. And they call me the prince of fools. Baby, I ain't your prince, I'm the prince of fools. Yeah, and they call me the prince of fools. Baby, I ain't your prince, I'm the prince of fools. I'm the prince of fools.
Hey, listen, tomorrow night, let me light up my light. Tomorrow night, Constance Hadari will be with us. And this lady is going to take us somewhere where most of us have never been before. Stay tuned. Oh, I like that. Stay tuned for the details. It's been a long... Well, have I said that? Stay tuned for the details. I don't know, but I'm feeling feeling that way. Constance Hadari, tomorrow night, she is going to take us somewhere that many of us have never been before. Listen, these are incredible people with incredible stories. Remember what Len Lemensdorf, our guest last night, an acclaimed author, said? Everyone has a story to tell, and every story is important. And tonight you heard a very important story by a very charming young lady, Silvia Anthony, a lady on a mission. Go to sylviashaven.org and do whatever you can do. Buy her book. Let me grab it. I don't know why I keep laying stuff away from me. If I just lay it down, I could reach it. Till the End of Time. Silvia Anthony. Tremendous read. sylviashaven.org. And thank you, Silvia, for taking the time to be with us tonight. Look, I'm just not ready to go yet. You know what I'm saying? And if you're still hanging with me, boy, I really appreciate that. Because we're going to do one more Rick Fowler music. One more Rick Fowler band music. Espenlaub, you are a squirrel, man. Hellbound.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Well, I believe some old hellhound found my black cat bone. Well, I believe some old hellhound done found my black cat bone. 'Cause the stars don't look right and the moon is looking wrong. And I can hear that old hellhound, he's just scratching at my door. Yes, I can hear that old hellhound, he's just scratching at my back door. If that hound ever gets in, I won't be hanging around no more.
Give me a call, 302-497-3414. 302-497-3414. Hellhound, Rick Fowler Band. Hey, listen to me. Listen to me. Oh, that's been love. I'm telling you what, I'm not right. I know that. Well, anyhow, listen. Tomorrow night, Constant, I know I'm not saying this right. Constance Hadari. She's going to take us someplace where very few of us have ever been, if any. The 11th, which is Thursday, Eddie Upnick, and he has an exciting story that you just have to hear. And on the 12th, Mr. Dale Cox. Listen, we've got former CIA agents. We have a Navy SEAL that will be with us on Monday night. We have authors, and we have some interesting people that's lined up for the rest of this month. CIA agents and Navy SEALs and authors and people that'll take you out there, and hopefully they'll bring you back. And I mean, it's just a lineup. It just keeps going and going and going and going. So make sure that you tune in tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Spreaker Network. And tell a friend that will tell a friend that will tell a friend that will tell another friend that will tell another friend. You know what I'm saying? And if we just keep telling another friend, wow. I mean, we'll have all kind of friends lined up to get in tomorrow night. Don't forget, as our guests come each and every night, we will open up the Skype line, and you can call and make comments or ask questions of the guest. That number is 302-497-3414 or George.Espenlaub, Espenlaub. Oh man, I need to get out of here because I'm getting that way. Of course, I've been that way the biggest part of my life. But anyhow, it's been a delight. Thank you for hanging with me. I mean that. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you, Silvia, for being with us. SilviasHaven.org. SilviasHaven.org. There's a whole lot of love that comes to you from the Funny Farm. I mean that. I really mean that. Listen to me. Wherever you're at. If it's nighttime, have a great night. If it's already tomorrow, like, daytime, then you have a fine, fine day. But regardless of where you are and what it is, till tomorrow night, same time, same station, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Spreaker Network. Tune in for another George Espinlove show. So until then, everybody stay safe, be kind one to another, watch what you're doing, don't go there. Good night, everybody.